everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Nona Sportscast. It's me today as your host, Edgar Rodriguez. Pleased to have your company as always. So, of course, Fabio is usually in this position. Today, he is on the other side. Of course, he's coming to us from Brazil. Fabio, good morning. How are you?
I'm wonderful, Edgar. Thank you for picking up my slack there and covering up for me. It's been a busy week preparing for Nona Cup and with this trip that I had planned before, and you guys are doing a great job over there at home, taking care of everything that we need to for next week event.
Of course, of course. Yeah, the fifth Nona Cup right around the corner. We'll get to that a little later. But like I said, you have been in Brazil for the last couple of weeks. Give us a bit of a rundown as to what you've been up to and what you've been doing to keep yourself busy over there.
Uh, it's funny that I had this trip booked right in the month of Nona Cup, right after the Pinktober event. So it's a a little odd time for me to be here, but it's for a good cause. We're opening some opportunities for our players to be here training with some professional academies down here to get a good feeling, a different feeling from what the final development piece is. I was able to get Moa here, and I think Moa will be the pioneer for other players that from Nona and from Orlando that would like to come down here. It's a fantastic experience, Edgar. We can talk more about it,
Yeah.
but Mo is having a reality check what the truth of the game is when it comes to the U16, U17 level, and not just in the level of play, because I think our players are playing at the level, but in the struggles that the players go through, the dorms, and so it's a awakening moment for us as a family, and I think would be a great experience for the Nona players to experience going forward. And then last week I was in Rio and through Nona Cares and with the project that we adopted over in Rio in one of the projects down there, and that was an amazing experience because we were able to bring over 500 T-shirts
Wow.
from the Nona families that donated to us, and a total of 9 full kits from Adidas with what we used in USL 2, what we used in UPSL, and we were able to make a difference for a lot of kids in one of the biggest projects in Rio. So it was exciting.
Unbelievable, unbelievable, especially, those kids who usually don't have the luxury of even having a full kit sometimes, right? Or even having shoes to play with. I'm sure that impacted them at a profound level. I wanted to start there actually with the social projects. Of course, having that Brazilian culture ingrained in what is known as Soccer Academy. It's really visible even here in Orlando, but I'm sure even more so in Rio. How does that make you feel, having an international impact as a soccer academy that you founded, what, 8 years ago, and you're already, having this sort of impact? It's profound impact. So, how does that make you feel?
I think we found it in the game, Edgar, a way to continue to help, right? It's a way that I can expose myself. It's something that I understand, and and this is where I came from. It's very simple for me to be helping a lot of kids all over when with the Nona Cares Foundation with scholarships and stuff. But when it comes to the opportunities that I've had as a soccer player since I lost my father, and how many people helped me, it's only fair that I can go back and give back to the community. Uh, I don't know why we picked Rio. I think it was a message from God. One of the coaches there found me on Instagram, and he was trying to get a hold of me uh, for a couple months. And then when I finally responded, I said, you know what? Let me talk to this kid. And he's a young coach. He's probably 25, 26 years old.
Okay.
And uh, and I asked him, what do you need? He's like, we need everything. And I think they had 3 soccer balls, and 2 of them was ripping apart. and that was right at the time when we switched the soccer balls. For Nona Soccer Academy was in April. I had just switched uh, the soccer balls, and I was able to fit in like 40 or 50 soccer balls in my backpack in my luggage, and then I brought to them, and I think was a fantastic idea and experience. My family, the people are like, Fabio, you crazy? You don't even know these people, and you're going right into the projects. We're in one of the most dangerous cities in the world. And I say, I'm protected when you're doing things with the open heart. And I think I truly believe in the good signs and what I was brought here to do, and is to help kids. And then since then, I've been there 3 times, and we got the donations from the Nona members, and we started bringing them a lot of stuff. Today they're uh, the best looking team in
Of
the
course.
in the little tournament because they are fully known with Adidas. They're training with our jerseys. They have a lot more equipment than that they deserve, which I think is pretty cool because one of the coaches, and I will share this video with you.
Mhm.
One of the coaches, uh, when his team got all this stuff, there was another team training right across the street, and he went there with a bunch of shirts and gave it to them as well. So
Oh,
the sharing and what they do as a community, it's impressive, and it was awesome for me to spend a week there with my son. And Moa had the ability to see all of that with his own hands, with his own eyes, and we even celebrated his birthday there with the kids. We brought them a cake and sodas and stuff, and it was I think I think as a memory and as a lesson, we learned a lot this week. So it was a beautiful thing.
it sounds like it. It sounds like it. And like you said, yes, you donated to one club, but they already have that mentality too. They know everything going on around them and they're aware that, the situation is usually rough. And so to have this influx of quality materials that they can use for the months and who knows, hopefully years ahead is unbelievable. Just continuing on that topic, do you think it's the most fulfilling thing you've done at Nona? I know you've done so much, and I know it's been 8 years, but this surely has to be on top of the list.
Yeah, it is. It's it's the most fulfilling thing today, Edgar, and I think we've done some things where and I don't like to be talking about the stuff that we do uh, in the backstage areas of what we do, but it is beautiful, and I think what I feel fantastic today, and I was able to expose my family to it. I was able to expose my son, and I think the biggest legacy is what I teach my kids, and I think uh, we are. I think the next vision is what do I need to do to bring a team from the project in Brazil to play, for example, right? So now once we got that relationship started, once we got the everything that we did for them, now it's what's next. How can I continue to provide this experience to those kids? And but yes, today, this week, November 2024, is the most fulfilling thing that I've done this month, and but we'll continue to do it, and I want to be remembered for things that we do for people that needs.
Yeah, of course. And I'm sure I'll ask you that question in a week or so time, and you'll say, "No, the cup is the most fulfilling thing."
Yeah, it will be a couple of different ones. It's different fulfillments,
Of
and
course.
if you have a bucket of emotions, a bucket of good deeds, a bucket of success, a bucket of professionalism, I'm living my dream. We talk a lot about this, and you hear me saying with the guests that we bring to the Nona Sportscast, and I'm living a dream, and hopefully I don't wake up anytime soon.
I'll pinch you to make sure you're not dreaming. Um,
Yes.
Going back to Moa, of course, he's over there with you. He recently turned 16. This is a crucial part of his development, not just as a person and as a young man, but as a football player. Um, of course, spending it in Brazil, where you're from, where his family is from, how important do you think it is for him to, remember and be aware of his roots? Because, I'm sure that this experience has been incredible for him and will probably be an unforgettable experience. So, how important is it to never lose the awareness of your roots?
I think Moa does a really really good job on keeping the Brazilian in him.
Yeah.
Even though he was born in celebration, right, in Orlando, and Moa does a good job in keeping up. I think both of my kids do, listening to music and understanding and getting to see on YouTube what their family's home country is all about, right? So when I told him that we were going to do this project together and then we're going to come here, he was more excited than the training with the pro academies down here. He was more excited to see what a
Mhm.
favela looks like, right? What the projects look like with the slums, and and it was beautiful, Edgar, and how he fit in and he understands the differences, and because we do live in a bubble. Lake Nona is a bubble, and Orlando is, it's probably, with Disney and everything that there's to do in Orlando, it's one of those things that the rest of the world doesn't understand. And I need to raise my kids in a good area, in a safe place, in a it's what the American dream is all about, and that's how we're fortunate enough that we're able to raise him that way. But he needs to understand where we come from. He needs to understand that not everything is the public schools in Lake Nona, which are amazing. Not everything is it's Heroes Park, right? That is beautiful fields, and not everything is Boxy Park. They need to understand that, and I think that's my legacy and my duty as a father. Because if I'm not here tomorrow, they need to understand that what we've built as a family may not be what's ahead of him in the future. So he needs to understand that. And I was pleased and impressed on how well he observed the culture and how aware he was of those differences. And he wanted to go to the barber shop in the projects. And then 3 days later, we saw Memphis Depay going into the favelas. Like, you see
Really?
that? We did that.
Because
And
he plays
that
with
we're
Corinthians now, right?
yeah, yeah. So he was
Wow.
comparing himself with Memphis Depay because we did the same thing, and we have to do it, Edgar. I think the biggest lesson. I always said, like, we have as a motto at Nona Soccer, that soccer is only half our story. For my kids, truly, it's only 10% of the story, but that 10% can open doors for us to have experiences like this, and raise good young men. And Moa will be able to talk to his friends what the favela is really like, what are the struggles that people really go through. It was raining the last day, and it was just a pure mud on the field, and they were slipping, and to control a ball was impossible, and the kids were just having fun, which is, we don't see a lot back at home, and I think that was a great experience for him.
I'm sure. And I think you brought up a great point. Like, we live where the rest of the world vacations, right?
That's correct.
A lot of the times it's not really, I guess, reality, right? Quote unquote. So I fully agree with you. It's so important for them to be aware, just to simply aware and to have that experience. It's invaluable because, like you said, the favelas, yes, you see pictures on the internet and on YouTube. It's like, whoa, it's almost like it's not real, but when you're there, it's a completely different thing. And I'm sure he will take those lessons that he's learned, and not just to his teammates, but to Luan as well, who's his younger brother. So it's just going to keep on positively influencing so many other people.
Oh, Luan is back at home, and he's asking, and he wants to come too. And we're gonna make a family trip here where everybody can be part of this, because again, they need to understand that the world is not Disney World.
That will be beautiful, I'm sure. So just moving on a little bit, since we don't have 3 hours. Um, you attended a Botafogo match. I wanted to ask you about that because, of course, football is growing here. The atmospheres are completely different in Brazil. I feel like for fans, it's a way of living. It's almost like a religion, right? You support a club and you will die supporting that club and you'll do anything for that club. Just give us a bit of a if you can, describe how it feels to have gone back to a Brazilian football match.
Uh, my wife tells me that every time I come to Brazil, I miraculously find matches to go to. No, I don't plan around it. At least that's what we tell her. But I've been watching a lot of soccer games down here lately, and I want to understand the everything that goes on the field, but I want to see that passion. And I think the biggest thing for me, Edgar, is how is it possible that a game of any kind can drive that type of passion for the fans, right? And then you
Unbelievable.
see different ones. You see Flamengo. A couple months ago, I was here and watched Flamengo's game, and then you see Botafogo now, who was just acquired by an American owner, John Textor, which I've met. I met John Textor. He
Really?
owns FC Florida. He plays a game. He plays in our league over in the USL 2, and I got to speak with him. And I say, "Hey, we're rivals back at home." And he's like, "Oh my God, Lake Nona, I've heard about you guys," and that was cool because he's putting
Wow.
in so much effort in to make Botafogo huge again. And I have a feeling they play in the final of the Copa Libertadores, and they're
Yes.
playing the final. They're gonna win the Brazilian national championship.
Wow.
It's going to be a fight into the last thing. And I told him, I was like, John, it's amazing what you're doing here. He looked at me, he's like, we're still missing a little bit. Don't say it. But that was exciting. And Moa was excited because he got to see in a different state.
Wow.
Because we did go to Sao Paulo a couple of times, and now he got to see in a different states, and we keep adding to these experiences as a family. So it was fun.
Wow, that's incredible. Hopefully John Texter on the Nona Sportscast soon. Who knows? Who knows?
Yes. We'll try to bring him over next time he's in Orlando.
Exactly right, exactly right. But that's incredible. And again, it's one of those things you see on the TV and it's just like when you see the American now, for example. I mean, it's just unfathomable how many people can be packed into one place at one time just for a simple game. It's unbelievable. It's definitely on my bucket list.
Yeah, the emotions of Maracanã are it's how we grew up, right, Edgar? Like in South America, anybody that's South American, and we say, "Oh my God, we play in La Bombonera for Boca
Right,
Juniors," or you're playing at the Monumental in River,
right.
or you're playing at Maracanã. You have those things. Like, honestly, we have much better stadiums in the U.S. but once you start about telling the history, it's like you're walking into to the Coliseum, right? So that's what kind of takes you to a different state of watching that game, and I think that's what the beauty is about this the big legendary stadiums.
I'm sure, going back to the Botafogo match, I'm sure Danny might be a little jealous, so you might.
Yes, it's funny that for the last three Botafogo games, uh, I was in Brazil and I got to watch three Botafogo games, and they won all three games. And I kept text Danny, and even they beat my team, which is Corinthians. And I was at the game. He's like, "Stay there, watch every single Botafogo game because you're being good luck
You are the
to us."
lucky
So
charm for
yeah,
Botafogo.
Danny was a little jealous, but I got him a jersey, and I gifted him a jersey, and he was happy about that.
Very good, very good. You'll keep him happy with that. Um, let's turn our attentions now, because like we said, you have been all over the place in Brazil, keeping yourself busy. You've visited two professional clubs. Just tell us a little more about that. I know first was Inter, right, in Brazil. So
Mhm.
tell us a bit of the work you did there.
We're here now. I'm in Porto Alegre, in the sul of on the south of Brazil,
Okay.
close to Uruguay, all the way down here,
Wow.
and this is where. in May this year, there was the big the strong rain that we have, all the floods and stuff in the city. So, like to see how the city is recovering and to see that it's been amazing on how the entire country kind of got together to help this area here, and you can still see the damages that the water have made
Wow.
here. So I'm down here. Mo is training with Internacional here in Porto Alegre. He's going to spend 2 weeks there. He's on the fourth day today, and then he's going to go to Grêmio, which is two Copa Libertadores champions, two world champions. It's some of the top 10 big clubs in Brazil. And on Monday, I got to have a tour from the training facility for Inter, just for the academy, and it's impressive. They have a stadium. They have uh, from U15 and above, they practice in the morning. U14 and below, they practice in the afternoon. They got to see to fully develop, and we talked about the budget. How much does it cost to run a whole professional academy? How many players came out of this? There's a Johnny Cardoso. He came out of the Inter in the Inter Academy. He's now in the U.S. national team. He's American.
Yeah,
So we talked a lot about opportunities for Brazilian American players to have that, because we feel like that's a potential market coming up. So it was a good experience. And then I went to yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I went to watch the U15 from Grêmio, and I met one of the legendary players from Grêmio. That he's the academy director for the U15s and below. And I didn't spend much time with him. I just saw the game, and then I met with him. But he was traveling to Argentina for a tournament. But we're gonna get together again next month in December, in the beginning of December, when Mo is spending some time over in Grêmio, and I'll show you guys some of the backstage of a professional academy down here.
of course. And wow, I'm sure he has such a wealth of knowledge and experience that again it's invaluable. And the fact that um not just Moa, but everyone, all those other players are getting exposed to that so early, it's going to be incredible for him developmental wise.
I have a fun fact, Edgar, from as I
Please
was
share.
watching the game, and as I was watching the game, and I was meeting a lot of people because they were talking about soccer in the U.S., and they were introducing me, and then I met this older gentleman,
Okay.
and he was walking in with crutches. He's probably in his 70s, and I met him, and hey, nice to meet you, and we kept going back and forth, and I was like, well, what do you do? I asked him. It's like, oh, I used to be the academy director for Grêmio for 12 years and stuff. I said, oh, that's cool. And he's retired now. He's working on the social project, like in the country of Porto Alegre. And he said, oh yeah, I have some players in my resume. And I say, who? He's like, oh, Ronaldinho, but I don't like to talk much about him. So I
What?
met the guy that found Ronaldinho to the game, and we spent about 20 minutes talking to him, and I just wanted to pick his brain and learn as much as possible. And I'll get to see him again. We exchange numbers and stuff. Fantastic. Older gentleman with a wealth of knowledge, and everything that we talked for like 30 minutes, and I wanted to take him home. I was like, I want to learn as much as I can from this guy. But that was a fun fact of my 2 hour Grêmio training facility trip that we've made. It was fun.
Wow. That's all I can say about that, Fabio. That is unbelievable. Um,
Yes.
and I mean, Ronaldinho is like a god in Brazil. I mean, what?
Oh, this is his hometown. This Grêmio is where
Like,
he grew up, and that's his brother played for Grêmio as well, and this is where he grew up. And so when you talk about Ronaldinho here, yeah, he's God. He's God in Brazil, and here in this hometown, he's a big deal.
you might have to take that gentleman out of retirement. Maybe bring him over here. Maybe convince him to get back into coaching.
Yes, yes. I don't think he can. I don't think he can handle it anymore.
But wow, that's incredible. I'm so pleased to hear all those experiences you've been able to have. But I know we touched on it a little previously, but the fifth ever Nona Cup is right around the corner. Um, so many clubs, so many games. I mean, I think we have 5 locations this year. It's just 3 days of pure local youth football. How does it make you feel when I tell you it's the fifth Nona Cup?
Yeah, it's talking about Nona Cup, and we started right after the pandemic, right when we started getting cleared, and we had about 120 teams, and now we almost tripled the size going into to the fifth year, and the feedback I'm getting after you guys posted what Nona Cup is going to be like with 85 clubs and 300 plus teams. And we start sharing that. People start telling me, Fabio, I can't believe we've done this. I can't believe you made it to this. And to be honest, it's proven now. I don't do much. This is you guys. You guys are running it. Danny, Frodo, Alejandro, and the entire team. See you, Edgar, Manu. You guys are kicking butt. I'm here in Brazil. I'm still doing a little bit of the politics for them. I'm showing myself as a support,
Right.
but yeah, it's impressive. Late last night, I got a text message from my wife and from Chris, and she said it's so nice to see the Nona Cup schedule with over 300 teams. And I said, maybe you haven't seen anything yet because if I'm in Brazil for 3 weeks and Nona Cup is hitting the 305 in the hands of my team there, this only can grow uh, and I think it's a nice thing. We are aware of our responsibility. We have on Saturday night, we're going to have a big deal over in Boxy Park in the Lake Nona Town Center in partnership with Tavistock. We understand that all the hotels in Lake Nona are sold out. Uh, we understand that the restaurants are going to be packed with kids. So, Lake Nona residents, please, if you are thinking of going out, please be aware that we having a huge financial impact in the community. We're bringing these kids. Be patient. Let's all host these kids from Miami, Jacksonville, Tampa. Um, let's host them together because it's a good thing to showcase our community. And be patient with traffic because Narcos is going to be a little crazy this week, next weekend.
Just wait until Lake Nona West opens up because I'm just imagining that in my head. It's gonna be just all the just the amount of people and like you said, traffic and in and out, it's gonna increase tenfold. Lake Nona is on the up and up, more and more every single day. But just to start wrapping things up, Fabio, I know we're a little short on time. Um, I wanted to ask you about Nona Cup being in November. Of course, we have to wait for most of the year to pass by, and then Nona Cup is kind of like the holy grail at the end of the year. How does that make you feel in terms of the approach you take to it? Does it make you more excited? Does it make you more like anxious because you have to wait? Like, what's your mindset as as to when Nona Cup?
There's a couple different ways to look at that,
Of course.
and but the reason why Nona Cup is in November, plain and simple, is because that's our anniversary month, right? So
Nice.
Nona Cup to us is like our anniversary party every year. We celebrate our anniversary on the 1st of November, and then we close the month with Nona Cup because then we had Thanksgiving right after, and that was the reason why we picked in November. Uh, it was plain and simple. There was a couple different dates that were available to us 5 years ago when we first decided to do Nona Cup, but November was because it's the closing of our anniversary month. But then it's also good to have as a business to have a Nona Cup closing the year in the last quarter, going into the Christmas through the holidays with Thanksgiving right after, and and for customer service for the parents, we take a week off for Thanksgiving, so it was like this build up and hype and stuff, and then we have Nona Cup, and then we take a couple of days off. There's a couple different ways that you can look at it, but the reason why we do it in November is because of our anniversary. So it's an easy and simple way to explain.
Well, there's another fun fact. I'm sure not many people knew that. So let's close this off on a positive note, Fabio. We've talked about all the great things. you've been up to in Brazil, all the great things that are going to happen here locally. I know you will be back for the Nona Cup. We're planning on having wraparound coverage both on Instagram, on YouTube. So please stay tuned to the Nona Sportscast channel because we are going to we're gonna elevate the coverage this year. That's our goal. But leave it with what's your final message as you close out your Brazilian trip? Um, what are the things you're going to take away most fondly from your point of view?
I think it's the experience that I'm providing to Moa, because he's the first one, and he's the one that kind of opened the doors for more kids to come in the future. But you have to expose your kids, right? Your son and your daughter to new things and teach them how to treat people well, and be aware of this whole scenario. So I think that's what the most fondly I'll take it to my grave, because I saw his face on his birthday celebrating with kids that he just met, and they were looking up to him like he was a humble young man, and somebody that's hanging out with them, which he didn't have to, and he wanted to be there. So I think that's the biggest lesson I take from this experience that I've had here in Brazil.
Wow, that's great. That's great. And I think that's a great place to leave the fourth episode of the Nona Sportscast. If we had more time, Fabio, I'm sure we could talk about all your experiences for the rest of the day, I'm sure. But that is it for this fourth edition of the Nona Sportscast. Thank you so much, Fabio, for making a bit of your time available this Thursday morning. This episode is going to come out the same day, so perfect timing. And like I said, we have Nona Sports Show next Tuesday, the next Nona Sportscast a week from today, and then boom, we're thrust right into the fifth ever Nona Cup.
Thank you, Edgar. I appreciate your time. And once again, if I can leave a message, I see that you still have about
Yes, we do.
three
Go ahead.
minutes left. Uh, I really want to make sure that our community is aware of what's happening. It's a big event. It's probably the biggest uh, outside if, internal event in Lake Nona, where we are hosting a lot of people. So please be patient in the restaurants, be aware of traffic. But at the end of the day, just think that it's for a good cause. We're getting our kids to play, uh, and we bring in a lot of business into the community, to the restaurants, to the small businesses in Lake Nona. It's important for us to understand that, and for us to be open minded for the amount of people that's going to be coming in. So thank you for having me, Edgar. Don't you get too comfortable taking my spot. Uh, but every time I'm away, you'll be the one handling this conversation. So you're doing a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fabio. You can count on me. No worries.
Okay, deal. All right, guys. Thank you very much.